We had like quite a few big floods. I've heard some crazy stuff. These guys like, I wish we had another Katrina. You wish that men, women, and children would die so that you can get some business.
The devastation ranks as one of America's worst natural disasters.
It brought a lot of construction business into our areas. A lot of insurance companies are pulling.
You are opening letters this week that your homeowner's insurance policy is being canceled.
This is the loss. We're bouncing out. I'm going to just be real about it. You're in a tough spot. People that aren't really construction companies popping up all over the place.
But you go with this guy, and then you end up having to call me anyway.
The system is cheating you, but your costs are higher, their costs are higher.
Every roof, they do the same job.
I've had so many bad experiences with contractors. He would always show up late. Is it okay if we work through the night? I got kids. I'm not going to let you work through the night while I'm sleeping. And he starts yelling at me in my own house. What is wrong with you?
I knock on the door. I hear a young. I see this shadow coming through the glass. I can see through the door. I didn't want to though. But
you didn't. Well, I didn't want to either. You painted a picture in my mind. It was very graphic. Yeah. So we already recorded / not recorded this episode, and that was fun to find out. You know, when you don't have anybody manning your equipment, and you're just like.
But I have a picture of you. Like when you noticed that it wasn't recording.
What's my face like? Was it like a horrified face? Like what the heck's going on?
That's a meme.
Right.
Dude.
Yes.
Oh no. That's great.
Like,
The look of regret.
Yeah, I'm wearing a different shirt in there too. Yeah, so, you know, these guys were just on the show, but you won't see that. I do want to get into like the nitty gritty of your business and all that's happened. And so like, I think one of the things that, you know, cause we've worked together, like we just started doing some video content for y'all, and it really was like a really cool experience because I've worked in the roofing industry for a very short amount of time, had a really bad experience with the person that I worked with. Like, dude, you want to talk about weird. And I think I told you this on a job site, but for our listeners, like, so I was learning how to do sales, and this guy would like, hey, I'm going to go to my house and take a nap. I'm like, okay, cool. That's okay. You take naps during the day, whatever. He brings me with him to sit on his couch while he goes and takes a nap. And I'm like, I don't know you or your family.
Dude, that had to be so awkward.
And dude, it was. I'm just sitting there like playing on my phone like, okay, I don't know what to do. And like, you know, his kids walk by. Hi.
I'm Eric. Nice to meet you.
Hi, I'm Eric. Okay. You know, like, they're like, I don't care. I'm like, is this a normal thing?
Right.
Like, is this normal? Like what you do with your employees? And so it was just kind of like awkward. Like, dude, just bring me home. Like if I'm riding along, like, just bring me home. I don't live that far from you. Like this is really weird. And I don't want to just sit here and do this, you know, especially since I was going into the sales for it. And we had to do like a lot of door-to-door stuff is what he was really teaching. And honestly, like that door-to-door, have you ever had to do door-to-door sales?
That's a yes.
that's probably my least favorite part of the business.
Yeah.
But since you got some training in it, we're gonna have to talk later.
Yeah.
Oh, bro, I got you, bro.
Yeah,
I've gotten really good at sales now.
Yeah, we're gonna
be honest.
Seriously, that's probably my I won't say my weakest point, but since I don't enjoy doing it, it's probably like
It's the hardest thing to do.
Bro, give me a hat and a shirt. I'll go sell some roofs for you. I'll be like, what's up, guy? For free. Like, we'll do it as a social experiment,
We'll
you know?
definitely have you in a shirt tomorrow.
No, like he think I'm
8
playing.
o'clock.
I'm serious.
He's over here. Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, seriously. I've actually had people to like tell me that, and I'll literally have them like a collar shirt and a hat.
Here's a shirt.
No,
Knock
dude, like
yourself out.
one of the experiences I had too was like, so I've had people like not even come to the door, and I get it. Like I'm a male, and you're a lady that's at home, your husband's gone, and you're like, you're not sure who I am. That's okay. And they're like talking to me through the door, and I'm like, I can't hear you. I'm like, okay, have a good day, bye.
Right.
And then I had another guy. It's like, I don't know you. I know I knocked on your door, but you're like, come on in.
Oh no, that's a little red flag.
I was like, very uncomfortable. You know, I was like, I guess I was like, no, I wasn't. I was older than you at that time. So like, this wasn't that long ago, but I've definitely like expanded in my ability to do sales. because I really just like learned not to care. You know, like I don't care if you buy from me. Like, do I want you to? Yeah, but like I know what product I'm selling, and so like I've found that like really that nonchalant like sales approach, like
That's way better.
people know when you really want that sell, and because they recognize through your body language, the way that you speak, and all that, it's just throwing up red flags for them to go, I don't know if I can trust their product, like, because he doesn't even seem that sure.
Yeah.
So like passion will always outsell anybody else that's like good at their pitch, right? And so like my approach is just like, hey, I love what I'm doing. It's a good product. And you put that together and they see that passion, they're more inspired to it. Now, not everybody's going to buy it, even though they like, oh, I really like that guy, or like, you know, cool energy, right? And I had a guy come try to sell, you know, freaking Spectrum internet, and I'm like, I hate that crap. I hate them. Like, no. Like I said, but like I was like, I don't mind crapping on big companies. Like I hate Charter. And it's because their customer service is so bad. And I mean, we've always had issues with it. I'm totally happy with who I've got. Yeah. But this guy comes to my house, knocks on there. I see Spectrum, so I'm automatically seeing red because I'm like, I hate them.
Yeah. How can I mess with this dude right now?
Get off my. No, I didn't mess with him. I'm not mean like that. But like his approach was like very aggressive, and he's like, go check your internet speeds. Go check them. I'm like, you mean like right now? Why? Because he was saying like, yeah, we've been noticing with your provider right now that the speeds have been bad. I'm like, my speeds have been good. He's like, did you check it today? I'm like, not today.
Not
but
really.
I check
no.
it. I literally check it almost every day. Like, and because I'm always like, am I getting the right speeds? Am I getting the right speeds? I guess that PTSD from, you know, the person who's trying to sell me, the company that's trying to sell me. Right. So I'm like, it was never right. and so like, I'm like, no, dude, like, I'm not going to do it. He's like, no, go check it. I'm like, okay, your approach is very aggressive.
Yeah.
All that's going to do
take a chill pill,
is take people off. Right.
Right.
And so like, man, I've noticed like, okay, not everybody's going to be a yes right away. You know, and the same thing goes with any sales, like even in the roofing industry, because like somebody might not feel like they need to change their roof right now.
Right.
So like the real goal when it comes to sales is that you want to leave a long lasting impression, because when they are ready, which is inevitable, right? Whether it's them or the next person, maybe their kids own the house later and they put in a good word. And it really is a numbers game. Like how many doors can you knock on in a day? But the thing is, it's like I'm more likely to get that customer later than I am right now. So stop trying to be a product pusher now. Right. Leave a good impression. Like, hey, look, we're in the neighborhood. You know, like my approach essentially, and this is just a very rough and you do need to be good at like gauging people and where they're at and how they're reacting. But you know, the initial non-threatening approach is like, hey, look, I'm just in the neighborhood. Just wanted to leave my number and see if, you know, if you guys want an inspection. Do y'all do free inspections?
Yes.
Okay. If y'all wanted a free, if y'all want a free inspection to see how your roof is doing, see how much longer it has, you know, I've noticed maybe some granular lossage on there. We had a hailstorm recently, you know, and just kind of like put that bug in their ear, but also not threatening to where they're not like, they don't like the person needs to not know that you're trying to sell them.
Right.
It's not a term that I even came up with, but it's something that I heard and took to heart. It's like sell without selling.
Yeah.
And that selling without selling is selling yourself, because inevitably they're going to need a roof eventually, but you just want them to buy from you.
Yeah.
So, and you've already left a good impression, while the other guy's like, go check your internet. No, get on your roof right now. Tell me it's good. Tell me your
shingles,
roof is good.
boy.
Yeah, go check them shingles, boy. Let me watch this.
So, dude, I'm really curious. While we're still on this topic, do you have any horror stories from your door-to-door sales days?
So that's actually the first thing I ever. I don't think you even know that. That was long before I met you. I maybe was in maybe it was like middle school, high school. And that's how that was the first thing I ever did for a roofing company, like go door to door and kind of hang door hangers and stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
But
wow, who are you?
Who are you? I feel like I don't even know you anymore.
Revealing.
I have to ask her. You think I should tell the story about the lady?
Oh, tell the story.
You think I should?
Ooh, it sounds like a good one. I kind of want it. Now you have
It's
to.
kind of, yeah, it's not like provocative, but it's kind of.
Oh, it's not.
I just say it, and if you cut it out, you cut it out. But anyway, so I went up to this lady's door. She knew I was coming. She did, but we hadn't met. I knocked on her door. She had it was a newer home. She had like one of the little glass pane windows or whatever in the front, and I knocked on the door. She was an older lady, maybe like in the late 60s, 70s, or whatever.
I feel like I know where this is going. I might have to put some of that Mune music on in the background. Yeah.
So I knock on the door, and I hear her yelling like, "Okay, I'm coming." And I heard her, so I was kind of like, all right, whatever. Took a step back, just waiting on her to come to the door, and I see like this shadow coming through the glass. Yeah. And I looked, but it's, I can see through the door.
Yeah.
And the lady was like completely naked. I don't know.
Oh, snap. So that makes sense why he started it out with, "This is before I met you."
Yeah. So
rest assured, babe.
So I'm not sure if she wasn't aware that I could see through the door, or
I feel like she was kind of aware.
I don't know, like, cause she was elderly, but like she didn't. The meeting was fine. It wasn't
define elderly. Are we talking like cougar elderly?
No, she was like, well,
like Betty White looking.
Like
she was in her 70s. She had she has kids that are like 40, 50. So she's she's an older woman. Yeah, that's why I'm like, all right, maybe she just didn't.
So she's like, hold on, sugar.
But yeah, that's probably like the weirdest thing that's happened to me.
Yeah, that's a pretty weird one. Yeah.
Okay, no, it's weird. It's that could. I'm surprised you're still in the roofing industry. I can't let this happen again.
Yeah, it was pretty weird.
You'd be like, babe, maybe I should start bringing you along just in case.
No,
I mean, I feel like
for my own safety.
It's safer. It's safer.
And I ordered just real quick before we move on. I ordered DoorDash one time, and the lady was like texting me when she was bringing my order and stuff, but just a lot of like excess winky faces and smiley faces, and I didn't really quite. I guess I was being oblivious because I was like, "Huh, she's really nice. That's a great. Her service is great." And then she came to drop off my food, and I'm pretty sure my instructions were just leave at the door and knock, because this was shortly after COVID.
Leave it on the door.
And she knocked on the door. So I usually give it like a second or two just to let them start walking back to their car, and then I open my door and grab my food and go back in. But she was just standing there like straight staring at me, and was like, "You need help bringing that inside?" And I was like, "No." And she asked me, she was like, "Are you sure?" I was like, "Yeah, I can handle it. It's just one bag." And then like I walked in
and manage. Like I'm probably stronger than you.
And I walk in and I tell my girlfriend,
was she like looking really around like, I can help with that? She tried to bring my
food inside, and my girlfriend was like, "What?" She did what? And I was like, "Wait, what are you talking about?" And then it was like,
say less.
I was like, whoa.
Start rolling up the sleeves. She like hands you her earrings, like, hold this.
That's always me though. I'm the one that's like, because I'm not thinking like that.
I'm not either. So, it's like,
but she always catches it. She's like she was trying to. I'm like, oh, I didn't even know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm gonna stay oblivious.
I mean, because if I did know, like, how am I supposed to? No, man, I'm gonna have it. Like, I'm gonna say the same thing regardless. So. I can't just be like, oh, you want me to ask my wife? Can you bring it in here? Yeah. Let her handle. Let her handle this for me. Sure. No, that's like. No, that's unnecessary.
That's hilarious.
Love it,
dude. I had a. It wasn't like that kind of situation, but like an awkward situation because I don't really order like DoorDash or anything. So this guy like drops off food. I hear the knock on the door, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go grab my food. I walk out there, and the guy like stops in his tracks, and then he starts walking towards me. I'm like, hi, what are you doing? Like,
aren't you supposed to be leaving?
I already gave you a tip, man. Go away.
Right.
Like, I did it before you even like brought the food, before you even got the order in, which I think is really ridiculous, by the way. It's like, how you gonna tip?
I don't even know how you did yet.
That's the great way to get the lowest amount of tip from me, because it's like, if you do a good service, like if it's fast or whatever, like I'm gonna give you a good tip, man. But like, I'm not gonna give you like a 30-40% tip when I don't even know if it's gonna get here on time, or if like that guy like ate half of my tacos. You know, like, because you'll see like those videos where those like drivers would be like, I got hungry, dog. I ate some of that food.
And I tipped you $10. Ate my
that's
cheeseburger.
why I don't order like DoorDash or something because I'm afraid of that.
Oh, it's expensive too, dude.
It is
It's
expensive. I don't think it's quite worth it.
I do it at like the bare minimum.
Like, man, I'm really not leaving my house today. So
Right.
I have a restaurant next to my house too, and I'm like, I don't feel like walking there.
Still don't leave.
I don't feel like walking there.
Well, what would be really bad is when he door dashes the restaurant that's right next to his house.
Yeah, that would be crazy.
Right.
That would be crazy. Well, at least it'll probably be fresh though.
Yeah, that's true. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it'd probably be less fresh than me walking over there because it's like you just be sitting waiting for the driver and be like, maybe they would even take longer because they're scratching their head trying to figure out like that can't be the right house.
Right.
Right.
Yeah,
There's no way that's
There's
the right house.
Literally no
ain't
way
it.
this dude is getting me to bring it 50 feet.
Right next door.
So I want to talk. I want to talk about your business. Obviously, that's what we're here to do. And you know,
mission.
the sales though, like sales is you know what? Let's actually get on the topic of sales. I love sales. I love talking about sales and you know, like you're a new business, not new to the industry. You've been in the industry for a very long time. How long?
About 6 years.
6 years. 6 years. Okay, so like you started in your early 20s.
Mm-hmm.
And did you have any previous experience in this field? I'm assuming not.
No.
Jarrad dragged you into it. It's because of all the naked old ladies. You know?
Yeah, had to have an enforcer.
She's like,
Right.
all right, like if you're going to be serious about this business, I have to be your backup. So like sales, you know, like obviously like any new business has to have a great focus on sales. And I think that's one thing that like our listeners are always interested in. I mean, even me who like, you know, I think I'm pretty decent at sales. I know I can still get better. And that doesn't mean I need to listen to somebody who's pulling in hundreds of millions. I want to hear from people that are like doing it from the ground up. I want to hear the people that are like in the daily grind, because it's like, sure, like that guy who pulls in $100 million a month for their business might have a good strategy, but I'm not there yet.
Yeah.
I want to hear from the person that
also probably been doing it a significantly amount of time longer than you.
Yeah.
So he's probably have an established client base. He's probably got leads generating automatically. So there's probably so many different factors.
that is a you know, that's called a sales funnel and how you need to really do it. And that's honestly like a process that we're still working on as far as like our sales funnel. We have to make sure our branding's good and everything's up to par. Our website's really, because like right now our website is awful. I hate my website. Like, can you get good information on there? Sure. You know, people tell me, they're like, well, the video's good. I'm like, yeah, that's what we do. It should be good. You know, like that's our like our product or service, but like our website, it really has been a big afterthought. And granted, like I will say, like social media is very, very present and where people should be, but we want to use social media to pull people's attention to our website so they can gain more information, so then they can make a purchase from us, right? So that they can get that service. And so I'm curious to know like what your strategy is as far as that goes. And it could just be like knocking on doors or word of mouth and things like that. But like, you know, what are you doing now and what do you plan on doing in the future is what I want to ask.
As far as sales goes?
Yeah.
So what I do now is, you know, going into a meeting, I just try to be as prepared as I can. I try to educate the homeowner as best that I can. So, you know, I have different literature and things like that to kind of let them know what they'll be getting from the shingle that they actually pick. We also have like some, what's it called? Foot cards. What does Miss Whitney call them?
Like capability statements or
The other one, the skinny one. I don't know what it's called, but it's basically kind of like a
pamphlet or
it's like a talk card. I don't know. I'll have to show it to you. But anyway, it's basically just a quick little run through that I kind of go through with the customer to let them know what they'll be getting from us. You know?
Nice.
By working
setting
with
expectations.
Right. By working with Choice Vine, it's like a quick 5-step chart that we go through and just letting them know exactly what we'll be providing for them. So
you're like setting up expectations,
right?
Which I think is really good. We're like kind of talking about that on the other with our other guests as far as like really getting good at communicating that so that people don't come back with questions. Because like I'll get phone calls nonstop on things like people like overthinking the process and worrying about it. And man, it's definitely good for them to eliminate that stress, but it's also good for us because that eliminates stress on both parties. So I think that's good. It's really good.
And I think the last thing, well, I actually do it first, but the last thing that I'll mention now is kind of just asking the customer, what do they look to gain from this meeting, and just making sure that by the end of the meeting that I actually
try to meet that as much as you
what
can.
it is that what they wanted to get out of the meeting, any questions that they have. I kind of start off with that.
I like
How do you
that,
normally
dude.
get those responses? Because I do think that's a really good strategy because it's about being efficient. It's like if they're not ready to buy, then it's like, okay, yeah, you can still spend some time with them, but
not to waste too much.
yeah.
Right. Exactly. Wait, what was the question you asked me? I'm sorry.
What kind
Like
of
how are the
responses?
responses to
How
that?
are the responses? It varies. It kind of just
Yeah.
depends on how organized they are, where they are in the process,
Yeah.
how serious they are.
Well, or some of them like, yeah, we're just shopping right now. We're just
Exactly.
kind of we're
Exactly.
interested, but we're not ready yet. Like and I'm sure like everybody's different too, and then everybody's position is going to be different. But I feel like a lot of people are afraid to like even say that. Even when it comes to like pricing, a lot of people are afraid to talk about pricing. I know that in my own experience too. Like in the past, I'm not afraid to talk about pricing at all because I'm like, you're insane if you think my pricing is high. I have only one guy, but I have one guy say your prices are high. I'm like, okay, bye. Like, I just like, we're cutting this conversation. Like, if you think my prices are high, then you have no idea what prices are like.
You don't know any market research.
I wish that the prices are so good that I wish that I had more content that I needed to produce. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like it kind of feels like man, I have this person providing all this value, but it's like I'm not even
use it.
Yeah, I'm really not even ready to use it all. You know what I'm saying?
Oh no! But that's what we do. We're gonna hook you up with topics every single month, right?
Right.
And what we suggest is like we want to make sure that you're happy with what you're getting first, right?
Exactly.
Because I mean, 15 reels a month is still a good bit of content. When you're looking at like 5 days a week, you can post every other day, and you might still have some left over. And it's like you see it's working. Like, okay, this is good. We can come up with more content for you. Like that's what we do. Like, and then you can pump out more. One every day. Yeah. And still have a back. So, but we don't want to talk about us. We want to talk about you. So like you've been in this industry for a long time. And I love that too. Cause it's like, you're not just seeing like this money grab, like, oh, let me go ahead and start this business, especially with like all these like hurricanes in South Louisiana. And especially now, like you're in a tough spot. I'm gonna just be real about it. It's not like there isn't money to be made, but this is a tough spot because a lot of homeowners insurance, a lot of insurance companies are pulling their homeowners insurance because of all the hurricanes. They're like, hey, this is the loss. We're bouncing out.
Yep.
And that makes your job harder because changing a roof is expensive. And not everybody is at that space, especially with like inflation. So your costs are higher, their costs are higher, which means it's like, the product overall has to be more expensive, and then they have to be, they don't have as much money.
Yeah.
So it's like, and then insurance isn't paying for it. And it like, dude, that's rough. But hey, y'all have something that's like really clever. And I don't know how much this is done in the industry, but like, I think this is really valuable to what y'all have to offer is that y'all have partnered with someone to fight the insurance company to get that claim.
That's strong, yeah.
Right.
Because the first job that I came to film with you guys, the homeowner was denied.
Yeah.
But you had your boy Noah come in and he fought the insurance company and got the claim accepted.
Right.
And the thing is like, that's one thing that I can't stand about like, insurance companies or even taxes. It's like people look at like these big companies that go like, oh, they're cheating the system. No. They're not cheating the system. The system is cheating you because it's like, hey, we're going to charge you 100% of this unless you tell us and prove where we don't own you. So who gets the benefit?
Right.
It's not that I'm not cheating the system to lower my taxes. I'm just not paying everything that I have to pay. They're saying like, hey, if you can't prove that you don't have to pay this, then you're going to have to pay it. It's not like they're going to be like, oh, okay, like, let me help you out here, buddy. Like, no, it's your responsibility. Right. And that's obviously the ability for you to be taken advantage of. And it seems like the insurance, like most insurance agency or not agencies, but companies do the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, I know I'm not saying it's the agency, and insurance is a great thing,
Yeah,
right?
it
Like
is.
it's a necessity, but because of the system, it kind of like, it makes it very difficult for people to get those claims. And so you have somebody, it's like, it's almost like the same as having a lawyer,
Yeah.
right?
Exactly.
A lawyer, someone to fight on behalf of your case.
Yeah.
And tell me a little bit how that works. How does that work as far as like getting that on board, as far as like, I'm not talking about like commissions or anything like that, but like, does it cost more for the client to do that, or do they get a portion of that insurance?
The settlement. I understand. So the process that you're talking about is our partnership with the public adjuster.
Okay.
So most roofing companies take the approach that, you know, we can try to get it approved ourselves, which is true. You know,
yeah.
in most cases, some are just slam dunk cases, and you know we can
Because it gives them
Yeah,
more
like
profit.
guaranteed. Yeah.
right. So I can probably get it done myself. But in the instance of our partnership with Noah, he basically represents the homeowner as an adjuster, the same way that the insurance company has an adjuster. The part that I like about it is that he totally handles that portion of it for us. So he's kind of like a consultant
Nice.
for Choice Vine, and he totally handles the insurance portion of it from start to finish.
Yeah,
all
yeah.
correspondences, everything.
Headache free.
Headache free, you know. So
Yeah,
so we can
yeah.
spend our time doing other things that we need to get done, and we still have someone that we can trust.
Yeah.
So we know, you know, is a good person, is going to have our customers' best interest in mind.
Yeah.
So it's kind of one of those things where, like I say,
I
of
love
course
that, though.
we could probably do
Totally
it,
do it. Yeah.
but why not allow someone else to, you know, come in and
Excels in that area,
Right,
especially.
right. And it's not like we're not losing. I mean, Noah, he like he told you, he's licensed by the state of Louisiana.
Yeah.
And all of our experiences using the public adjusters, our settlements are maybe 30-40% higher than what they would be if we can just get it done
Wow.
ourselves.
Yeah.
You know, and so the homeowner literally has nothing to lose and everything to gain.
Yeah.
That's great.
Well,
in the process.
that's awesome. Like because that's always like kind of like a concern, I think, by any consumer when they don't know. It's like, am I gonna have to pay more
No.
to get this? But it's like your insurance is paying for it anyways, you know.
Exactly.
So yeah, no, that's really cool. I think it's very smart too, because you're going to be really good at what you do instead of trying to get more of a profit. And it really kind of like is a telltale sign that it's like, hey, I'm focusing on what I'm good at. I'm good at my craft, and I'm going to take care of your house. And so all of your attention is devoted to that
Exactly.
versus trying to get more money by doing the, you know, not hiring somebody that does this full time.
Right.
That is a professional at it. So, you know, we were talking about sales earlier too. Like, I want to know, like, when did y'all decide, like, hey, Instagram, social media is like the way to do this?
Well, that's actually an interesting question, because I often have the thought that maybe it's not.
Oh, okay.
And the reason I say that is because
Do I need to sell you again?
no.
I'm joking.
And let me clean that up. What I mean by that is, in my own personal opinion, like, I took my personal Instagram page and turned it into more of a business page, right?
Right.
Majority of my followers are people, you know, that
friends.
are my friends that are my age, you know, and at the time, still to this day, most of them don't have houses. So that isn't my company's target audience per se.
But they will.
They will.
As they get
Exactly.
older.
That big picture.
It's kind of the thing, like, kind of delayed gratification.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
And dude, that, like, honestly, and everybody who's listening, like, you need to think that way
Yeah.
when it comes to business. Stop thinking about look, I know, like, when you start a business, you need money now, right? Like, especially if you, like, take out a loan or you got bills to pay and you're like, I need this now. And so, yeah, definitely focus on, like, how can I get my first client, my first customer, or whatever it is. But you also need to be thinking long term,
Right.
you know, and that's something that I continuously try to do as well. Like, okay, how are we going to solve this problem in the future? Because you could start things now that are only for now, and it'll cap your growth. It'll cap your operations or whatever it is. But if you're thinking of the future, it's like you're playing that long game. And that's something I learned in, like, almost every industry, even in church. It's like, don't think small church mentality, think of growth.
Right.
And that right there, dude, it's like, do you plan on being in business for the next 5 years? You know, in the next 10 years? And so it's like, okay, then yeah, you're already planting the seed in their mind because they're seeing all this content. And look, I will say, like, we don't ever try to sell this idea of like, oh, we're like, yeah, we're professionals and we have a standard of the quality that we do. And that is important to us to have that standard, but that's not the thing that we try to sell, right? We try to sell, like, take the work out of your hands. And we want you to just know that, like, yeah, you can trust us with your content because it's going to be good. But I will say, like, we get a lot of feedback from our clients of like how people react, like, whoa, who's been doing your content? Yes. And it's like, which is kind of nuts, but like, listen to that perception. It's like, people that have been following you are now seeing like, oh, they must be doing something now. Like, because it feels like
serious now. Like,
it's like,
stepped up.
You know, like, I clean my truck before I go see a new client, because if they get this perception of like, I don't take care of my vehicle, which I do take care of my vehicle, they're going to think automatically he's not going to take care of me. He's not going to take care of his business and things like that. And so, like, really, like, having those high quality elements in your business does like it's like, when you say sales is a lifestyle, it is a lifestyle. You got to live it, but it also has to be genuine and true to who you are, you know, not manipulative. But yeah, dude, I think it's brilliant, and you'll get a lot of business in the future just by being consistent, because you're going to be top of mind. When something happens to the roof, they're going to be like, oh, let me call Jarrad. They're not going to think, oh, let me go look in the yellow pages for Jarrad. Well, I guess these days, Google, let me Google a roofer. They already have you set in their mind. That's part of the reason why consistency is important. It's not about the views. It's about, like, people in your local network. Are they consistently seeing your stuff? And I hope this is like, I'm kind of giving some advice to like to people as far as like what we do is like, be consistent. Like, look, if you're doing it yourself, be consistent, and you know, don't get so wrapped around on quality, because, you know, even the videos that y'all were doing with your phone, it's like, you're still getting out there. And that's still important, because if people don't know that your product exists, how are they going to buy it? You know, somebody, I heard a pastor say this one time, which I found really interesting. He's like, hey, if you got $1 million in your bank account, but you don't know, you can never spend it. I'm like, that's true, bro. That is very true. That is true. So, you know, old naked ladies aside, sales and things like that. So, like, I want to talk about like y'all's quality control, things like that. In the first recording, the first attempt of this podcast, we talked about, you know, some of my experiences as far as, you know, these contractors compromising. And I know that, like, so, like, if you're not from the state of Louisiana, that's where we're from. Y'all are mainly out of the, like, Baton Rouge area, but obviously they cover a wide array of that. But Louisiana, New Orleans, most people might know New Orleans area, and we had like quite a few big floods, which brought a lot of people into our. Man, I am
our region,
Dublin.
Yeah, so is it like an influx?
It's like like we're doing like that game where it's like, it's that word. No, but like, okay, so it brought a lot of construction business into our areas, because I mean, Katrina wiped out a lot of areas, and that's like years and years of work to get it back to par. And so we got construction companies coming from, well, I say construction companies. People that aren't really construction companies popping up all over the place because people want that money grab. And then you got companies coming out of state and contractors, all this stuff. And, you know, I've heard some crazy stuff, like these guys like, man, I wish we had another Katrina so that we can get some business in. And I'm like, you wish that a bunch of men, women, and children and animals would die so that you can get some business in. And not to mention the amount of devastation that added to all these local businesses and people and even like inflation because of it, right? Because when you have this loss, people now, like, you got a supply and demand issue, and people are like, oh, well, hey guys, we only got so much wood. So, dude, I don't know if you've seen, I'm sure you've seen. Okay. I'm saying, I don't know. But I'm sure you've seen like when that happened, that and with Ida, like wood prices shot up, dude. Like it's like, man, I just want to build this cool little home project, you know, or somebody wants to build a deck in the backyard is now jacked up like several $1,000s more.
I remember when a sheet of plywood was like over $100.
Yeah.
And that is just like ridiculous.
Yeah, that's
like
Yeah.
absurd.
Well, one of the problems with that too is that like, you know, it's like gas prices, like it never goes back fully. It's like,
Fully, no.
it's like, okay, gas prices are now $6 a gallon.
So you're
And
excited.
then it goes down to $5.50 and you're like, oh, thank God.
We're getting $5.50 a gallon. Let's go.
When it was like $2 before.
Right.
Like it's crazy, man. So I know that a lot of that has, you know, it has a wave of effect on your business, even though it's been years down the road. It's like, it may not seem like immediate, but it still like has caused a lot of issues. So you got insurance companies that are trying to like back out of Louisiana because of all the storms. And then you have all these other competitors coming in that are doing a really bad job. And that's something that I want to get on the topic of too, is like these people ripping people off, doing a horrible job. And now you and your company has character, but you're a new company and you have to fight against that.
right. I think it's one of those things, man, where people kind of want to go with the cheapest bid, and that kind of bites them in the butt.
Yeah.
a lot of times.
And then they get mad about like, oh, like I went with the cheapest one and
Right.
it didn't turn out the way I wanted it to. So
Exactly.
Let me throw a fit about it.
So I come and present to you all this value that will be given to you, and you know, just walking you through the whole process. But you go with this guy who, you know, may have been a little cheaper.
Came in like $200 cheaper.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then when 2 months later, when your roof is leaking, then you end up having to call me anyway because you can't get a hold of him
Now you're
Yeah.
paying for it twice.
Well, dude, it's cheaper to do it right the first time.
Just do it right the first
It
time.
really is. Like it dude.
I mean,
Like,
not even cheaper in the sense of money. It's you know, the stress, the worry
stress,
of
the time. Yeah,
like, all that.
Yeah, if you got a leak in your house, you could lose a lot more.
Yeah.
Right.
And I mean, yeah, it does money wise too. It does cost more unless your
does.
insurance pays for it. Yeah, then it's whatever. But then you still have to pay higher. What is it called?
Deductibles.
Yeah, higher deductibles.
Yeah. Well, most of the time, I mean, if you just have a leak, it'll probably be that's probably more of an insulation thing.
Okay.
If the job was just a shabby job,
Yeah,
the insurance
yeah.
company probably won't even cover it anyway. So
Really?
I mean, you'll be
Oh, wow.
So you're out in the dust.
Yeah, they really only pay for like perils like acts of God, you know,
Yeah.
wind, hail.
Is that what they call as acts of God?
Nah.
Okay.
It's more like fortuitous
disaster.
events.
I'm like,
Oh, yeah,
is this roofing and insurance lingo that I don't know about? Like, it's the act of
I have
God.
heard it before.
No, it's actually something I learned in law school. It's like fortuitous events. That's just how I remember.
Oh, that's right. Oh, for everybody watching, like the first episode that we tried to record now is this one. We found out that we didn't know my dude over here went to law school. That is crazy. Like he's like, yeah, something people don't. It says so cavalier. Something people don't know about me is I went to law school.
Yeah, don't
Oh,
tell
yeah,
anybody.
no big deal. I graduated law school. You
Yeah,
know.
it's whatever.
I mean, it's just whatever. Yes.
It's one of those things, you know.
It's those hidden talents that people just have. It just kind of. You have any hidden talents? No. She's like, I like to make fun of people who are very specific about their, their OCD. Okay, so tell me this. Like, are you like the organizer, the person that's really good at like just being, so like you're just like a
systems
a
person.
down to business systems. This is the way that it is. I mean, that's the vibes that I'm getting too. When you're like, I don't have a problem telling the price.
Yeah.
Let's get this down.
She like the person where I'm like, babe, this is what I need to get done. However you do it, just get it done.
Hey,
Yeah.
that's
and
crucial.
That's her.
You and my wife would probably get
So
along.
did that dynamic just kind of naturally happen, or did y'all have to have like a conversation about it, or y'all just really fell into these roles? I'm assuming.
No, just fell into them. I feel like that's just something I was good at my whole life.
Yeah.
I guess that's
Yeah.
a hidden talent.
Yeah, but oh, I'm sorry. Go
Hey,
ahead.
that's a talent. Being firm, that's a talent.
Definitely. But I more like her kind of tapping into her clerical gift. That's something that I struggle with. I mean, just as as a husband or as a, I don't want to say business partner, I guess, is kind of taking my hands off of some things, you know.
Yeah.
Like men, we can sometimes be really protective of our business, our baby. Or
Well, I don't think that's a guy thing. I think that's just
a
like
business owner thing.
you know,
Right.
doing anything thing.
Yeah.
You know,
So
it's like
it took a lot for me to, I won't say a lot, but I had to work through like actually
Trusting.
trusting to hand certain things over to her, knowing that, you know, she's a talented young lady. She's going to get the job done, you know?
Yeah.
Look, and I think you bring up a very valuable point, because that's something that I think everybody struggles with. I struggle with, as far as like, you know, we have these conversations too, because Sam here is my operations manager, and, you know, being able to like let certain things go and just be like, okay, you know, it is difficult, because it's like you work hard on something and you build up a client base, and you have this certain standard. It's the same thing with like my editors. Like, are they going to be able to like put out the same quality? Like, because to me it's like, I feel like, oh, it's easy, you know, like here goes your simple steps to follow, this is how you do it, but you still have to have like good creative mindset. And then you go back and you have to like really go, okay, I'm gonna trust you, because otherwise it's, you know, it's like, as the art of what we do within our service and our product, essentially have to trust that part. And then also you're looking at like, am I wasting money here?
Right.
Yeah.
You know, giving people an opportunity. And that's a struggle too, especially when you're not like, especially when it's not in the void of all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
Like you just go, what you,
I was about to say, why are you?
I'm laughing because when you say wasting
He's
money, it's funny because she's always asking me like, how much I'm gonna get paid this week? But it's like, I mean, you're my wife. It's not like,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm paying you, but it's not like
no. But my wife does the same thing. I'm like, you don't even work for me.
That's why I'm laughing, because he's like wasting money. I just start thinking
I
about.
feel you, dude.
I start thinking about her grilling me, like, how much am I gonna get paid this week? But
Just wondering.
Just curious. Good to know. You know.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
she's
And I write
Let me know how hard I should work
Yeah.
this
how much
week.
am I writing myself?
Yeah. So tell me, how is it, you know, because I'm sure a lot of people, like I've noticed a lot of people are getting into entrepreneurship, starting their own business, you know, with their spouses. How is that dynamic with y'all? How does it work? He don't want to mess up,
Yeah,
so he's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
it's your turn.
taking the lead on this one.
I was trying to let her get her more than four words.
I want to hear what you have to say too, though, because look, a lot of times a guy will just be like, "Oh, it's great, I love it," and then the woman will think something
my
else. Well,
God.
actually, there's this thing.
There's this and that and that.
Well, I mean, I guess we just have a good system going.
Yeah.
So for the most part, he's the one in the front lines talking to the customers, building
Yeah.
relationships, getting the business, and I'm in the background handling paperwork and making calls, doing social media stuff, whatever
Yeah.
needs to be taken care of.
Yeah.
So I just think that's something we fell into. It's good so far.
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll continue.
I think it's good. I'm always the one that like wants it to be take your wife to work day.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
Bro, I hear you,
love
dude.
when
Like,
she
I want to
comes
bring
with
my
me.
wife everywhere.
Yeah, like why not?
Because I love my wife.
Exactly.
Like, I love being with her. She's great. Like,
exactly.
yeah, there's a reason why I asked you to marry me, you know?
Right.
Trying to hang out all the time.
And then our wives are just like, please, I need a break.
Yeah. But she'll end up just like sitting in the truck for a couple hours, then I feel bad.
Yeah.
That I just have her like sitting outside in the car. But I mean, it's good. I love it. I wouldn't want to do it with anyone else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do y'all
I think
feel
that's
like
important. It's very important.
Yeah, because y'all cover two different fields, and like it sounds like you're really good at what you do, and you're really good at what you do, and that's the power team right there. And you know, like I talked about me and my wife working together on another episode, but like we don't work good together. Like I think we're good at being cheerleaders for each other, and I think my wife is particularly really good at it, you know. But she's also very grounded and real. And that's one thing that I really appreciate about her is like she'll tell me when she doesn't like. I'm not saying she's always right,
Right.
Yeah.
but I can appreciate that she is not just gonna try to gas me up or lie to me to just make me feel better or more encouraged. Like, no, give it to me how it is.
Yeah.
because I don't want to walk in delusion as I'm trying to grow this business, and look, I'm going to tell you to our listeners, like, find somebody
that can tell you the
that
truth.
is just, and recognize that, yeah, it's still just them. It's their opinion,
Right.
but it's very valuable to get other people's opinions.
I think the more insight you get is never hurtful, because I mean, it's just going to let you grow as a business and a person, period. So.
So, all right, we talked about naked ladies. I know I keep bringing that up.
Eric's stuck on that for some reason. I know,
Well,
like a
this
horror
is going to
story.
sound weird to have this like visual of what you saw. I'm a visual guy. That's what I do is video, man. Like, give me a
I
break.
wish I didn't have the visual,
But you did. You saw it.
but I didn't want to though. That's
But you didn't. Well, I didn't want
recreate
to
this in the
either.
form
You
of a
painted a
skit.
picture in my mind. It was very graphic.
Yeah,
It's very graphic,
I'm
and
like
that's
traumatized.
That's on you, Jarrad. That's on you. This isn't my fault. I can't help it. Like, oh man. Okay, I'm not even gonna describe. It's gonna get inappropriate here. Like the horrors of it. I'm sorry. Old ladies are beautiful too.
Yeah.
They really like. Yeah, they have their place.
They've earned it.
I sound like a. Okay, I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna
Right.
insert shoe in mouth. So no. I do want to like talk about like good and bad experiences, right? Like when we came to a job site, y'all had a really good experience. As far as what it seemed like, it was a big house, which is awesome. Your customer or client, do you call them clients or customers? What do you call them?
Yeah, just whatever comes out, really.
Yeah.
I need to like, because I'm pretty sure client is defined more on somebody that you consistently work with versus like a customer who's like buying a product from you. I don't know though. I could be wrong, but let us know in the comments down below, because I need to educate me. In
which case we all want clients. We want the long term.
Right.
yes. You could sell a subscription like we do. Like, hey, you buy the first house with us, it'll be a little bit cheaper if you sign this contract in your blood to.
It's like insurance. You don't know if you're going to need it, but you got it.
Right.
Look, we'll give you $1,000 off your new roof if you sign a yearly contract. We'll change it every year. He's like, you're onto something. You're onto something. I like where this is going.
Maybe like a, I don't want to say roof cleaning, but like kind of just
like a
You
PM kind of
could.
thing,
You
preventative
could.
maintenance.
yeah.
Okay, maybe we
preventative
need
maintenance
to
type.
this. Like, let's develop new business plans.
out.
All right, like, look, you could do like a service thing where it's like, hey, we come out, we check your roof after it's inspected. It's something that like you could just have like, maybe every quarterly thing to just make sure like, hey, this is that, and it's a price, because I think people really appreciate. One of the things that we try to do too is like, I wanted to make sure that our price was front and center, right? Because like what normally happens in our industry is like, hey, call us for a quote. Like, okay, so let's set up this conversation. Let's figure out what you want, fill out the needs, and it's probably going to be way more than what we have. So like, we want to have like low prices, but also very direct, because like, I don't need to have this long conversation for you to realize like, I can afford that.
Right.
That's not a huge investment, It's still money, and it all needs to be considered. So, look, we'll talk more after the podcast. I'm gonna help you. Like, I don't want any money, but I just want credit. That it was on the show.
I
Like,
got we can make it profitable for everybody.
all right.
Look, we not greedy. We're not greedy.
Not at all.
We can make it work.
Hey, as long as it serves the people, right?
Yeah.
And I will say, look, I said this on the first podcast, and I want to make sure I say it on this one too. Let me clarify. The first podcast we tried to record, I want to say like, I'm not just like, Jarrad isn't just one of my clients, but I'm also one of his. Like he came to my house and really like, it's such a fresh breath of air, because I've had so many bad experiences with contractors. We talked about like how we had an insurance claim, which was a fight to get, to be honest. It would have been nice to have your guy Noah there.
Noah, yeah.
It would have been nice to know you too,
Right.
because it took them 4 days to change out our roof, and it like the house that y'all just did.
Shaking his head. No.
The house that y'all just did was like twice the amount of roof. And I mean, you've seen my roof.
Yeah.
Like, how long do you think you would say that it would take to do that roof?
Probably be finished by lunchtime, maybe.
I love that, man. Yeah.
No, seriously though, I saw those boys working. They are fast and hardcore, and
Some good guys, I bet.
Yeah.
but they were doing a great job too. So it's not just fast; it's like it's the experience behind it. But yeah, like the guys who did it took them 4 days, which leads your house to exposure because they took the things off to protect it,
Yeah.
so they can put on the new things to protect it. So like being quick is really important.
Yeah.
You know, and look, as far as I know, like 1 to 3 days is depending on the size of the house or even how steep it is, right?
Yep.
Can make a huge difference in how long it takes. But one of the biggest downfalls wasn't how long it took.
Mm-hmm.
Even though we were looking at that weather, like, and I think it didn't like pour down raining, but I think it sprinkled a little bit, which was very nerve wracking. And so
Right.
that's stress that your
Stress on
customers
your
have to deal with.
Yes.
We're like, oh my God, dude, like, what is going on? They're like, we'll put a tarp on there. Like, you're gonna just like,
Yeah, 4
poke
nails
more.
on each end of the top.
Yeah. So, and then, they also did the contract work inside my house because we had a roof leak, changed the roof because it's old roof, and then it did damage inside of our house. So insurance paid for all of it. And actually, I didn't say this the first time we tried to record this. So I did talk about how they took 4 days. They also had pieces of the roof that were falling out that they should have replaced. And I'm not saying it's on them to not charge us for it, right? Because really insurance could pay for that too because they're trying to fix the roof.
Yeah.
But they're just being lazy. They're like, let's just get this job done. And so like, there's literally no space between the shingle and the wood that holds the shingle. Like there's pieces flying out. And I'm not saying it's like the whole thing, but they just did not do a good job inspecting it. And we as, the homeowner, it's not like we're going up there like, let me check this. I'm not an expert in roofs, but then I go in my attic and I'm like, what? Where'd that wood go?
Look at all those water spots.
Is that shingles?
Right, exactly.
So if like, a good piece of hail hits that, they could just go straight through. And then, we were trying to do in our bedroom this, what is it called? Shiplap, or like that faux shiplap look where you just like, you put the wood in there and you take the nickel, not the width, but the thickness of the nickel in between. So it has that like even spacing all the way through. Mm-hmm. And so they had to use a table saw to cut it. And dude, I am not joking. We had some gaps like 6 to 7 inches wide. And it was like arced, right? Like it was curved because they were just trying to hurry up and shred that wood out to like make these, cause they were using like plywood or it was like really thin plywood, cutting it out. And the contractor was just like, well, the boys, they're pushing it through. And I'm like, okay, like I get that everybody makes mistakes, but you're going to fix this mistake because I'm not paying for that. I'm paying for this other thing.
Yeah.
And he got, this is what I didn't say. He got an attitude with me. He's like, you like insurance is paying for this. And he was acting like I didn't have a right to it. I'm like, guess who pays the insurance?
Exactly.
Like, this is why I pay for insurance.
Right.
So yes, I am still buying this.
You're not at the insurance company's house.
Right.
It's not like the insurance company is doing me a favor.
Yep.
Right.
It's they're doing what they owe me.
They're supposed to do, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
I've been paying for the last 12 years.
Yeah. So like it just, but like the whole mind blowing. And there was actually another situation with this guy because like, dude, he would show up every day at like 2:00, but he would be telling me all day. And this is my bedroom. I can't even stay in my bedroom. So he took like weeks on there.
Wow.
And I was ready. I was just done, dude. Like, okay. I was like, they were paid to paint it. I was like, I'm just going to paint it.
Get out.
Dude. Like get out of my house. And like, he would always show up late and then he'd be like, is it okay if we work through the night?
No way.
I got kids. I'm not going to let you work through the night while I'm sleeping.
Right.
Like, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with, like, this is insane.
Hey man,
See,
can you turn down your drill a little bit? I'm trying to get some sleep.
We actually catch it like the opposite. Like we have homeowners when we tell them how early we'll be there, they're like, oh wow.
Yeah.
It's like we're waking them up. We normally start working at like 6:15.
Yeah.
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 So Yeah,
I mean that's pretty typical though. But like, dude, like nighttime, like sure, wake me up. I mean, granted, I'm an early riser. Like I wake up early too. But goodness gracious, man. And so like this one of his other guys came in there and he was actually like hustling it. I was like, dude, I said, I'm gonna be honest. I'm super glad you're here because anytime the other guy's here, like nothing gets done. But I see you're hustling, so thank you. The other guy comes in later and he's like the manager. He's not the owner, but he's like the one that's running the operations. And he starts yelling at me in my own house. I'm like, bro, you step in the wrong line right now. Like, this is not like, who does that?
Yeah.
In your own house.
He's like, how dare you talk to my employees that way in district? I'm like, how dare you suck at what you do and then treat me wrong? Like, dude, you have been in my house for like a month. That's not okay. Like, I'm ready to get my life back, dude. Like, this is the worst experience I've ever had.
Exactly.
And then it's like, I hear horror stories, maybe not quite that bad, but I hear horror stories all the time about contractors. Yeah. Like I said earlier, like that's something that you have to fight against because it's like people get this perception of contractor.
There are really some bad contractors out there. You know?
No, dude,
yeah.
I mean, we have to, like I say, we have to overcome that. But I mean, one thing that we do, we have a great group of people. You know, we have great teams, and we're fast, we're efficient, and we want to get out of your home as fast as possible, but not compromise the work.
That's right.
Yeah,
you know, I think that's one thing that you talked about when we were doing the roof. I mean, we have our roofing crew is maybe 9 or 10 people. Mm-hmm. So when you have 9 or 10 people that do the same thing every day, and every roof, they do the same job. They know their job. They know how to do it. Yeah. I mean, it allows you to go
get
fast.
That speed, you know? The first you get down the technique, and then the speed comes later.
Yeah. And I want to say too, like, because one of the things, like we talked about like what makes you stand out as a business, right? Because we talked about, you know, how it's like, yeah, you're using the same product that a lot of other roofing companies are using. Yep. And a lot of times you're even using the same crews, which is fine because these crews know what they're doing, but they make mistakes too. Yep. And so like one of the biggest values that you have is your customer service.
Yeah.
And really like being honest, someone that they can trust. And I had this experience when I was learning the roofing industry for a very short amount of time. I did not like it at all, to be honest. So I'm glad that you do it and not me. Obviously I had other ambitions, but
right.
You know, we're over at this house and this guy sold that synthetic, what is it called again? Synthetic felt, right? It's the thing that goes underneath these shingles, and it has like, that's not the ice and shield thing. That's something else.
It's something else. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I know that they paid for the synthetic felt, and it's kind of an upgrade from the regular felt. They weren't putting it on the roof, and that's the crew's fault. But really, ultimately,
it's the overseer's fault.
It's the overseer's fault, exactly. That's why, like, you're on the job site. You're checking things and making sure your crew, because those crews are really just contract,
right?
Yep.
And you're the one that's giving the quality and the protection to your customers to say like, hey, I'm gonna make sure it's done right.
Yep.
And this guy just like goes, oh God, oh well, you know. And it's like, but they paid for that.
Right.
They paid for the synthetic felt, and you're like, well, I guess they won't know, right? Mm-hmm. You know, and it's like, yeah, but they paid for it,
right?
And that bothered me so much. I quit soon after that. I was like, I can't do this. Like, I can't work for a guy like that.
Yeah, we were sitting in the car downstairs and we were listening. Our goal is to like read the Bible all the way through. So we were down there just listening to a couple chapters, and it was what are we in 2 Chronicles, I believe, and it was the kingdom of Israel had already split. So it was Israel and Judah, and the king of Judah at the time, he had paid some money to hire basically workers from the kingdom of Israel, and they were going to go to war, I think, to fight the Edomites or something like that. Yeah. And God told the king of Judah, like, don't use the workers, you know, because I'm not with them. So if you use them to fight, I'm not going to be with you. You're going to lose the battle. So the guy, he was like, well, God, I already paid these people all this money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what am
I gonna do?
What am I do?
Yeah.
I'm losing out on my money. Why can't I use them? And it was actually a prophet that he was talking to. And the prophet told him, well, you know, don't you know that God is able to give you much more than what you paid to them? You know, so that really spoke to me, because it's like, in an instance where we could do the wrong thing, like you were just saying, it would cost us more money if I ran up across a situation where, like, oh man, we were supposed to do this, but we didn't. Yeah. It would cost us money, you know, to do the right thing. But it's like, we'll be acting in obedience and just all in all doing the right thing by someone else, you know?
Well, and that is a good point. And honestly, like, this is, so I want to use Microsoft as a good example of, right? So I don't know if y'all know anything about gaming, but in the gaming industry, Microsoft had the Xbox 360. I'm sure you've heard of that, right? Yeah. So the Xbox 360 was very infamous for the ring of death, the red ring of death, meaning their system. So what was happening is their systems were overheating. Wow. And because it was getting so hot, the, what is it called? That it was essentially losing connection because it would melt.
Like the soldering.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it was the soldering. I think it was the thing on like the motherboard where, why can't I think of it? It's like the paste. So it was just overheating. And so everybody was having these issues. I had that issue. And Microsoft I watched a documentary and it was really, really interesting. And so Microsoft had to make this decision to either bounce out and say, well, I guess we're done in the gaming industry and just call it a loss, or eat the cost, fix them, and maintain a good reputation. And that's what they ended up doing, was they fixed it. And it was like, I think it was like $1 billion. That $1 billion loss to fix. Guess what? I could be really wrong about that, by the way, but it was a lot of money.
Good story then.
It was a lot of money. I know it was like high millions or like $1 billion. It was something. Gains. It was something crazy. But the thing is that they're still a company, and they would have lost that completely. And they're still in the game, and they're running strong. You know, the gaming industry is actually very, very profitable business. It's actually like taking over sports numbers and stuff, because it's like the new generations that. Well, it's actually been doing that for a while. I mean, to a degree. But when you got games like God, what is that game? Well, I mean, Fortnite got really huge, but there's that one of those strategy games that like is worldwide, and like, dude, the prize pool is millions of dollars. Like,
oh, League of Legends, I think you're talking about.
Yeah. I think, no. It was something like that. But anyways, so like the point is, it's like, like you can make that decision and you might take a little bit of hit, but in the long run, that's thinking of the future, right? It's like, I might save a couple $100 being dishonest here or not eating the cost, or I could eat the cost and maintain favor and people seeing me that I'm doing the right thing. And so like you like, hey, they might, even when they make mistakes, they're going to set it right. And that's something you can appreciate. But I think on the other side of the coin too, it's like these guys that you're hiring, the contractors, you know, it could be your mistake where you tell them like, it's this felt. It's like, why did you put that felt on there? You know, and you go, ordered the wrong thing. And that's where you would have to eat it. Or you could just, you know, I think there's a lot of options. And I think just like being business savvy on this too, like if you want to think about it, it's like, okay, you could talk to the clients, be like, hey, look, we messed up. We can do this. You know, we can tear all the shingles down and restart. And that's something that we're going to have to eat. Or we can just say, hey, you know, maybe they're like, okay, you know, here goes the regular felt that's on there or something, you know, and we get like, hey, we'll discount. I mean, if somebody's using insurance and they probably like, nah, brah, charging again, stuff. We got to just make up a problem why it costs more money, you know, like.
Great.
So like, I want to talk about a little bit on the side too of like, okay, so you started your business and what would be, like, how did you really get that started? Like, what was your plan when you're like, okay, here's where we need to go, the trajectory. Where are you? Where do you want to be too? Like, what's the future of it?
Yeah, I really want to be in the place where we could just continue to offer more services, kind of like we are. But I would like to get to the place where those other services are as big as the roofing that we provide.
Right.
Okay.
You know.
So you want to be like you want I see it says CRV, Choice Fine. Or you want it to be like Choice Fine Roofing, Choice Fine Construction, Choice Fine this and that.
Right.
Essentially what you're saying.
Yeah. So I mean, we just want to just continue to grow and allow customers to know us for not only roofing, but you know, when they need gutters, they think about us. When they need drywall painting, you know, they think about us. When they want to remodel their kitchen and bathroom, you know,
a company that does quality work.
right? Exactly.
Quality work. You can trust them. I'm curious too. Like, I want to know, like, how often do you think about business? Is it easy for you to just shut it off?
Like when we're at home, you're saying?
Yeah.
It's easier for me than for her.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, no, we have our days. It's I'm the type of person where my mind will kind of be going, you know. So it's like it's 10 o'clock at night. We're about to go to bed, and I'll have my eyes closed, and like I'll get a thought, like, and I'll have to like go and put it in my phone or something. But I'll let you tell on yourself.
So, no, I'm gonna tell on you. When he first started off, it was like he was talking about it like constantly, and it was like, babe, all right, can we have like maybe an hour?
Yeah.
Where we're not talking about the business.
An hour.
That's hard to do though. It's easier said than done. I mean, because you're building something and you're so excited
It's a
about
lifestyle.
it. Yeah, I totally understand that.
But then once you started, you know, taking on more responsibilities, I would have to tell her like, all right, after 6:30, you're not touching your computer anymore.
Yeah.
We're not doing any more work tonight. We're gonna sit down.
Like that's that.
We're gonna watch this movie. You know,
like because I mean we don't have a 9 to 5, so
Right.
it's like, well,
Yeah.
if I want
You can work whenever you want. Exactly.
Right. I have that, you know.
You can work all day, every day if you want.
Yeah.
You know.
Be a business owner.
No. It is funny though, because it's like you talk about that. Like my wife last night, she was like, "Okay, can we not talk about business?" I was like, "Babe, what else? What do you think people talk about when they go on dates? Like, think about it.
That's true.
when they're
What
doing
did you talk about when y'all first went out on a date? You talked about what was going on in your life.
What
So
did we talk about?
So look, I'm gonna make a solid point here. All right. Guess what the most prominent thing is in my life besides my family? You know, the obvious stuff like my children, my wife. It's my business.
Right.
Yeah. Like, because this is something that like, I'm not just trying to make money. And I really like to think that a lot of business owners aren't just trying to make money.
Right.
Right. Like, and especially like all the entrepreneurs that I talk to, it's like they really do like what they're doing. They're passionate about this.
It's fun.
And if you didn't like what you were doing, you probably wouldn't be waking up or like, boom, this thought happened.
Going
at
door
10
to
o'clock,
door.
you know?
Right.
Exactly.
Going door to door, seeing old naked ladies.
Oh my goodness.
So, so like we talked about it, she's like, fair point. But at the same time, it's like where you're talking about, she's like on the computer. She's all right. Now the wife starts talking about like the depressing side of bills and the pains and struggles. I'm like, all right, let's stop talking about business now. Like I want to talk about the fun parts, you know, not the weird,
Not the
boring
nitty-gritty.
stuff, like where you gotta, you know, like, oh, I wish I had more money in my bank account.
It's good though. It's good.
But it is a reality, and I think that's what's important too. Is like, especially like in a good couple, is to have that balance, the reality, because like. And it sounds like there's a lot of similarities. I'm not saying it's exactly the same, but it's like I'm a big dreamer, and you seem like hey, I'm the dreamer, the idea guy, and you keep him grounded,
Right.
so he doesn't float away, right? Like, come back down here.
Right.
This is how.
He's the one with the balloon string.
But that's good because like you may never dream as big as he does, but he'll never be as organized as you are, and so
You need each other.
You got that pair that like really good at these two things, and you just make each other stronger. And my wife, even though we don't work together, she does that for me. She keeps me strong. So lesson learned, find somebody that, makes you better. But no, look, you can have friends like that. You can have people in your lives that really help you, like a partner. There's so many things that you can learn from different companies, different businesses. There's no one way. There's no one way to just solve that problem. And so we want this podcast to be a resource to be able to, find out about other amazing companies like this, like Choice Fine Roofing. If you're in the Louisiana area, like definitely call them, and we'll put their information down below, their social media sites and things like that. Also website, where you and how you can contact them. Cause I use them. They're amazing. We want to be able to learn from their experiences instead of like, you know, what you see today where it's like, I'm going to show you how to make $10 billion in 5 seconds. And it's just not that simple. There's a grind to it, especially when you first start, and there's so many different angles, things to fix out. So we want to be a part of that community. If you want to be a part of that community with us, we'd love to have you join. We got a lot more guests coming up. Go ahead and subscribe, hit the like button if you liked it. If you didn't, thumbs it down. Tell us where we suck and tell us in the comments. We want to know and tell us what you want to see, what you want to learn. We want to just get better at this. And we want to grow. We want to grow this podcast. So thank you guys so much for watching and have a great day.